26.2 miles. There are many reasons why to run a marathon. Whether it's for a loved one who's suffering from an illness, or to prove a school teacher wrong who said you would never do anything in life, or just because it is a privilege to do hard things. There are many different reasons to run a marathon. Everybody is running for something. This documentary series is going to teach you everything you need to know on how to run your first marathon in under 4 hours. We're going to cover absolutely everything, from how to make your plan, running technique, nutrition and supplements, recovery, absolutely everything. There's so much more to it. We're going to cover this over multiple episodes. It is estimated that only 0.1% of the population worldwide will ever run a marathon. Do you have what it takes to join that 0.1% club? And I've been asking myself, do I have what it takes? I've never ran a marathon before. Will I finish the marathon in under 4 hours? We'll find out together. Running a marathon is a commitment to suffering, discipline and mental resilience. Months of 30+ mile weeks, pain, suffering, questioning your life decisions, pride, excitement and euphoria. Regardless of your reason, a marathon is a marathon. It is a physical and mental challenge that many people, including myself, have on their bucket list. So let's get into the plan. The most important part of your plan is planning on your plan, not going to plan. Now that is a tongue twister, but I'll say it again. The most important part of your plan is planning on your plan, not going to plan. Sod's Law, or Murphy's Law for you Americans, states that what can go wrong will go wrong. But I have a little exercise to mitigate all this. But first, we're going to set our program in place. Ideally, you should have between 15 and 20 weeks to train for your first marathon. In my sub-4 hour marathon training system, I give you everything you need to know. If you're a beginner to intermediate runner, I'll give you everything you need to know to run your first marathon and break that sub-4 hour barrier. I explain key training components, nutrition, a 15-week training program, and so much more. You can get free access to this by visiting the link in the description below. So if you're like me and you want to run your first marathon in under 4 hours, we're going to be looking at a maximum pace of 9 minutes and 9 seconds per mile. This would give you a finish time of 3 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, which is obviously cutting it a little bit too close. So ideally, we would have a buffer zone. I'm going to allow myself about 15 minutes just for emergency toilet breaks or anything else that creeps up out of the blue. So I'm going to be running my race at 8 minutes and 36 seconds per mile. This is a target finish time of 3 hours and 45 minutes. Now there is other strategies out there like the negative split, which allows you to conserve energy for the second half of the race. And this just means that the first half of the race you run a little bit slower, conserving energy, and the second half of the race you run faster. But since this is my first race and I don't know what to expect, I am just going to stick to a consistent pace throughout the whole event. Now if you want to create your own program, here are some of the foundational pillars that you need to include around your program. You need to slowly and steadily increase the mileage each week by about 10%. So if you're starting at 20 miles a week, the next week you can safely add 2 miles to run 22, and so on, and keep adding up and compounding up. We should be aiming for at least a minimum of 30 miles every week after around week 5. And during our peak training phase of around 3 weeks, we'll be looking to run at least 40 miles during those weeks. Your training program must prioritise consistency, correct pacing, and recovery. Strength training and plyometrics are not essential, but they are highly recommended because this will help you build a stronger body, prevent injuries, and build a more sustainable engine for the run. Marathon training is extremely stressful on your joints, your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, everything. Strength training and plyometrics helps build the strength around your joints, strengthen your ligaments and tendons, preventing injury, keeping you running healthy. You should aim for at least 2 easy runs at around 4 to 8 miles in zone 2. Now zone 2 is extremely slow. You're probably already running your zone 2s too fast. Zone 2 should be conversational. So as you're running, you should be able to hold a full conversation without struggling, without gasping for air. You should be able to speak full sentences and do it easily. We should have at least 1 tempo or interval training session each week as well. This is just running at faster paces, and interval training is just completely emptying the tank. These are zone 5 training days that really increase our VO2 max, helping us build a better aerobic engine. And we should also have 1 long run during our training weeks. On this long run, you're going to practice running at your race pace. You're going to start off in zone 2, then you can do, say, 5 miles at race pace, back down to zone 2, back up to race pace, and back down to zone 2. You can play about with the pace and get used to running at that speed that you're going to be running at when it comes to race day. Now, this is an important one. You're going to practice your race day strategy. So what you're going to eat for breakfast, what clothes you're going to wear, what gels you're going to bring, your mid-race nutrition, how you're going to refuel, your refueling and hydration strategies. You've got to think about everything. You want to practice your race day strategy on your long runs. Some people find that specific gels or different brands of gels or food gives them some GI distress. Try different brands and find the ones that works for you before race day and get this locked in early. Water-based fuel, gel-based fuel, caffeine-based fuel, there's a whole abundance of it, and we're going to go into this in more detail in the next episode. Recovery is mission critical. If you don't allow your body the time it needs to properly recover, then you're going to really increase your chances of injury and make training harder than it needs to be. Do not neglect your rest days. Your nutrition must be dialed in as well. Training for a marathon is going to demand a lot from your body. You're going to need to fuel it properly with plenty of calories, healthy fats, good protein, and complex carbs. You should be aiming to eat at least maintenance calories or a slight surplus, but no more than 10%. You want to eat good, healthy, complex carbs. So things like whole wheat pasta, whole grain rice and bread, oats, starchy vegetables like sweet potato and normal potatoes, and other things like that. Those are really good sources that will keep you healthy and fueled for longer on your runs. Now, nutrition is such a big, important topic, so we're not going to delve too much into that on this episode. We're going to save that for the next one, where we're going to do a real deep dive into nutrition and supplements that will help you perform the best during your training and on race day. Now, there are some things that you need to avoid during your training, and that's doing too much too soon. And it can be very exciting in the beginning when you're pumped full of motivation and you just want to get out there, pound the pavement and rack up the miles. But I've got to urge you not to do that, because this is going to lead to injury and just fatigue and everything else. Be patient, enjoy the process. The next one is, do not run your slow runs fast. A lot of people run zone 2 runs in zone 3 or 4, and this is in the grey zone. It's where you're still getting the same outcome, but you're putting more stress on your body, more stress on your central nervous system, which means it takes longer to recover. So if you're running in a true zone 2, you could wake up the next day ready to go again. But if you're in 3, maybe 4, zone 3 or 4, then you'll wake up a bit more fatigued, a bit more zapped, and you won't be ready to run the next day. That is why it's so important to actually run your slow runs really, really slow. And on your fast runs, you're going to empty the tank, balls to the wall, giving it everything you've got. Now, this one is probably one of the most important things to avoid in the whole 15 to 20 weeks. Do not try anything new on race day. Nothing. No new shoes. If you're going to get new shoes, make sure you wear them on your long runs at least twice before. No new clothes. You don't know if they're going to chafe. No new nutrition. You don't know how it's going to react in your belly. No different breakfasts. You stick to the plan, what you've already tried, what you've tested, and what works. And last point I've got to make on this is you've got to allow space for life to get in the way, because it is inevitable. Something is going to go wrong at some point and you're probably going to fall off the wagon. Don't beat yourself up. Just try to get back to training as soon as you possibly can and do it with a smile on your face. So we'll quickly touch on running gear, because this is very important. One of the best investments that you can make is in a good pair of running shoes. So I would highly recommend that you get down to your local running shop, get your feet measured, get your gait analysed, and get a shoe specific for your foot and the style of run that you have. The next best investment that you can make is in a smartwatch, a Garmin or a Chronos Pace. And if you want to go one step further, get yourself a Garmin heart rate monitor that you see everybody wearing. This will really help you lock in your heart rate zones, because the radial pulse on the watches isn't as accurate as the chest mounted straps. The exercise that I mentioned at the start of the video is what we're going to do next. So what I want you to do is grab a notepad, grab a pen, and give yourself an hour to do this. The exercise is simple. You're going to draw a line down the middle of the page, and on the left hand column you're going to write down absolutely everything that you can think of that could possibly go wrong. You must think of everything, every possibility. Right, I'm going to say write down 100 things that could go wrong. Down the right hand column you're going to write the solution to that problem if that goes wrong. And just remember, there are things that we can't control, but what we can control is how we react to each situation, our attitude, our energy, what we do next, and our thoughts. This is going to help your mind sit at ease when it comes to race day, because you are planning on your plan not going to plan. So one of the biggest challenges and obstacles that you're going to face on race day is hitting mile 20. And this is where the demons come out to play. It's where the real marathon starts, because your mind is going to be screaming at you, telling you to stop, even though your body still has plenty more to give. My name is Jake Scott, and I have never ran a marathon before. I'm not much of a runner. I've always been a gym bro. Lifting weights has always been my thing. Over the past 2 years, I have started to enjoy running more, and this led me to the decision to run my first marathon. In May 2026, I'm running the Edinburgh Marathon, and for every minute that I am over 3 hours, I'm going to do 10 burpees. So if I come in 60 minutes over 3 hours, so 4 hours, I will be doing 600 burpees. I'm doing this to raise money for MacMillian Cancer Support, because they do outstanding work in helping those suffering from cancer and supporting their loved ones. My goal is to run the marathon in anything under 4 hours. I will be happy with a sub-4 for my first attempt. But I have a history of plantar fasciitis, poor cartilage in my left knee, lower back pain, and a few other niggles that I've picked up along the years. And to this day, the furthest I have ran is 16 miles. I'm aiming to raise at least £1,000. But if we can double that to £2,000, I will double the amount of burpees I do. And if we can raise an excellent £5,000, I'll triple the burpees. And I'm not finished yet. I'll go even one step further, which I'm absolutely terrified of. If we can raise an outstanding £10,000, I will do 10,000 burpees in 48 hours. A grueling challenge. Head over to the link in the description if you would like to support a great cause and help me do my burpees. By the time race day comes, I'm going to be 30 years old, running my first marathon. And back when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I wasn't even sure if I was going to make it to my 30s. My life was absorbed by alcohol, partying, and everything else that goes with it. And I am running this marathon to prove to myself that the old me is gone and the new me is here to stay. and I will be celebrating 1 year sober on the 28th of March 2026. And that is episode 1. We've set the foundation and the plan is in place. Now the work begins. And discipline and consistency are the keys to success in any pursuit in life. And training for a marathon is a marvellous way to build both of them. You can look forward to getting lost in the runner's high on your long runs when the world slows down and your mind quietens down for a short little while. These are the runs that change the game. Over the course of this documentary, we're going to cover absolutely everything you need to know on how to run your first marathon in under 4 hours. From all things nutrition, running gear, technique and efficiency, mindset and motivation, and everything else that you could possibly need to run this marathon. This is going to be an epic journey through pain, suffering, and hopefully ending in triumphance and glory. And it's all for a great cause too. So if you can spare a few quid, head to the link in the description and donate to MacMillian Cancer Support and help make me do 10,000 burpees. Look forward to the next episode where we're going to dive deep into nutrition and supplementation to make sure that your body has everything it needs to train for this marathon and have a successful race day. By the end of that episode, you're going to know more about nutrition than Joe Wicks. And until then, ciao.